Welcome to our 12 Days of Christmas webinar event brought to you by Office Dynamics International. We are back with day 3, the Accelerated Assistant. We do have a handout for you today, and our webinar administrator will be dropping that in the chat for you, but it was also in your link email, the email that you got right before the webinar with the link. So let's see here. Also, we do have a program for all of our upcoming webinars. It's called, or it looks like this, and inside of it, it has every webinar that's coming up as well as the deal of the day. And our webinar administrator will be dropping that in the links in the chat, or in the chat for you, the link to this program. So our webinar administrator will be sending you the handout link as well as our full program brochure for the entire 12 days event. So if you want to see what we have coming up and maybe make your purchase later in the week so that you can save on shipping or whatever that might be, he'll be putting that in there for you. So thanks, Brian, for taking care of that. Also, just a reminder to please stay tuned until the end of our 30-minute webinar because we have special giveaways for you as well as a special offer. And a reminder that we will be sending a certificate of attendance out for this webinar, and that comes out about 24 hours after the webinar. So just give our team a little bit of time to do all the webinar follow-up notes, and we always post those on our blog. Okay, for this special series, we are skipping over the formal introductions and diving right into the content. So with that, I'm going to hand the program over to our CEO and founder here at Office Dynamics International, Joan Burge. Hi there, Joan.
Hi, Jasmine. Well, first of all, I know we didn't hear a jingle bell this morning, so I got to at least ring the bell once. Miss Jasmine's jingle bell music. I see that there was a hello from Times Square, and I was just thinking about, wow, the beautiful tree lighting that I did watch. I think it was a few nights ago that took place in Times Square, and it must just be incredible to see that up close. I mean, maybe one of these Decembers I need to go to New York and see everything all lit and beautiful. But welcome, everyone. We're happy to be here. Today we're going to talk about the Accelerated Assistant, which is our theme for our 2017 Annual Conference for Administrative Excellence. So for those of you who don't know much about our conference, every year we select a theme. And I wanted to just share with you briefly how we came up with this theme, and then we're going to dive into the information and how and where you need to be an accelerated assistant. So how we came up with this idea actually were several months ago, maybe almost a year ago. Jasmine and I were sitting in my office and we were talking about different items and topics. I think at the time we might have been preparing too for our Learning at Sea event that's coming up next March. But out of that conversation, we started talking about how everything is changing so quickly, how it's hour to hour, and how we have to work faster and smarter. And we started talking about how everything's accelerating at such a rapid pace. And that was the day the idea of the Accelerated Assistant was born. It's a topic that I'm actually getting more and more excited about because now I'm really digging into my research to prepare for our conference. And also we're going to do a full-blown webinar on this topic January 10th. So we're going to kick off the new year with our full webinar hour where you'll be able to ask a lot of questions. But I have some great thoughts for you today. So let's just put this in perspective for a moment. Today's business landscape is evolving faster than ever before. I mean, think about that. Ever before. And how long have we been around? How long has this world been in existence? The workplace is more complex, interconnected, and chaotic than we ever dreamed possible. And we all have greater demands on our time, our energy, and our attention, which is really hard to keep our attention anymore. In fact, I just have to talk about something funny that happened in the last few days with our webinars. On day 1, I believe our topic was about getting control, and we talked about focusing. On day 2, we threw in a little fun thing into while I was doing our webinar. A little Santa appeared in my window behind me, and it was really funny to see the comments that were coming in the chat box about, is there a Santa? Did I just see a Santa in the window? And someone had commented in the chat box, remember, you're supposed to focus. Don't be distracted by the things around you. So it's just amazing all the little things that grab our attention. But with all of this, there is great opportunity. And just before we came on, I have identified this as a new skill for assistants. This is something you're going to need to add to your skill box, your toolkit, and it is the art of acceleration. It will be a skill, and it will be a highly valued skill by any employer because you have to keep up with the demands today. So you might be wondering, where do I accelerate? Well, hopefully you have your handout. I've identified 7 areas to cover with you today. And remember, through these webinars, the 12 days, I'm moving pretty quickly, just getting to the meat of what I want to share with you. So the first area is you need to accelerate your learning curve. We don't have the luxury anymore of 6 months of a learning curve. We used to have that, ability. We don't anymore. Our learning curve, it's got to be rapid. It's got to be quick. We've got to do it now. So this, of course, yes, it may put a lot of maybe you feel stressed and pressured that you have to be learning. But you know what? The good news is learning can take place every day if you choose to open your mind, if you choose to listen, read, observe. So it's not that you have to say, well, I've got to block out an hour to learn. No, just keep your ears and eyes open as you go about your day. Listen to your colleagues, listen to your management group, your executive, read what is out there. And again, I can't say it enough. Read USA Today. You can get the app and you can scan through that for 10 minutes while you're eating your breakfast. Now, I know that's kind of doing 2 things at once, but it may be the only time you get to do it. But it's a way to see what's going on. In fact, today, USA Today, do you know what I just learned this morning? Amazon is going to be opening the first supermarket without any checkout lines. You will actually be able to, and they're testing this in San Francisco, where you could actually go into their market. Everything is all set up. You'll have your app, that app on your phone. All you have to do is pick the things off that you want to get. It's called kind of shop and go. Take your stuff. Your app will recognize what you picked up, what you're going to purchase. You'll walk out the door. It'll give you your total, and it'll hit your Amazon cart. Wow. Talk about acceleration. So our world is changing too quickly for you to not pay attention to what is going on. So with your learning curve, the key word here or thought is to aim for continuous learning. Like I said, you could have big chunks of learning, little chunks of learning. Just make it really a part of your everyday life. And I promise you, it will happen if you're committed to that and you're focused on it. Within the acceleration of your learning curve, also implement what you learn as soon as you can. So I believe this was a question, Jasmine, actually, that came up recently in one of our webinars, or I don't know if someone wrote me. And they said, gosh, I love all these webinars. We're learning so much. I'm learning so much. But how do I implement it? How do I start to use it? So there are 2 sides of the coin. We just can't take in. The big part is, of course, what are we going to do with it? How are we going to implement it? And I know it's overwhelming for me when I'm learning and hearing a lot of great information from someone, and I'm just a sponge and I soak it all up and I get so excited about it. I have to take it in, again, baby So usually what I'll do is I go back through my notes, or I'll rewatch a video if it's a YouTube video or something. I'll stop, pause, I'll make notes of the highlights, the key points, just almost like how I bullet point in your handout is what I would do. And then I'll go back through that list and say, okay, what do I want to focus on first or bring into my day? And really think in my mind how I'm going to implement. So if you have any tips for each other, you can share in the chat as to how you actually transition from learning something to turning it into a habit. I think that would be great for you to share your ideas with each other. What are some of your favorite ways to make that transition? Number 2, the next area of acceleration is your responsiveness to change. So the key word is responsiveness. We have to embrace change. We have to embrace swift transformation. We really don't have the luxury of sitting around and saying, I don't know, do I want to embrace this or not? You've got to go with it. You know, the ship is leaving. It's left the dock, and you either are on board or you're going to be sitting on the dock and everyone else is going to be taking off. So I know it's hard to adapt to change. And I think tomorrow, Jasmine, isn't that our webinar? We're all about change tomorrow.
Riding the wave of change tomorrow,
Yeah.
day 5.
Great. So I hope you can attend tomorrow, because I have great advice to help you to actually thrive on change. But we've got to be, like I said, responsive. We have to embrace it. It doesn't mean you have to like it, though. I'm not saying that, but you need to just embrace it. And again, tomorrow we're going to talk about that, so I won't say too much. The third one, this is interesting, and I really have been giving this great thought over the last 24 hours. And that is to accelerate your time to execute, to actually take action. So we have to, again, move at a faster pace. We have to be able to execute our ideas quickly. We have to execute our solutions, whatever your executive is asking of you. You have to be very responsive, basically. And so I had a couple extra thoughts. I just got a new book. It's called Thank You for Being Late, An Optimist's Guide to Thriving in an Age of Acceleration. I just got it yesterday, I think it was. I opened it last night. Now, I have to be honest with you, the book is about, 3 inches thick. It's heavy duty reading. So, I don't know. I imagine it's going to take me quite a while to get through it. This isn't light, fluffy, yay, let's be all excited about accelerating kind of stuff. But I had opened the book last night, and that's something I like to do when I get a new book. I kind of fan through it, and I might just jump in somewhere and look because I'm curious before I start from the beginning. But last night I was reading, it was like 2 paragraphs, and the author was talking about this. He had been exposed to some with Walmart in terms of how they process and the research they've done with shopping online. So Walmart has done extensive research basically on how long people will wait for something to pop up online within a shopping cart, and if it doesn't happen with the X amount of times, people will leave the page. So I read something, and I so wish I would have brought the book today, but it was something like they figured out that if something doesn't happen in the shopping cart within 100th of a millisecond, people will leave the cart or the site. 100th of a millisecond. Can you imagine? So we're not only getting impatient, we're also expecting acceleration on the other side when it comes to what we want, what we need. Boy, we better get it fast. So do you know what? others have the same expectation of us. So that this is going to be very, very important for you. Now, I also want to say within that, while you need to be quite responsive, the flip side of that is making time to pause. So in other words, everything is moving so quickly that if we just keep going, which we need to do, but also if we don't stop and pause and rest, we will get burnt out. So I also want you to add that in as one of your strategies under Accelerate Your Time, that the counterintuitive of that is to stop. It's to pause. It's to regroup, rethink, go through your priorities, be absolutely adamant about making that time. So then you can execute quickly because you're going to be more focused and you're going to have your priorities in the order in which they need to be. Number 4, so it's stepping up management of your career. So I've got accelerating career management, taking personal responsibility for your future. So my question is, and you don't have to answer this in the chat, but how many of you actually manage your career? And my next question is, what does it really mean to manage your career? So, you know, we talk about career management all the time. We've hosted many webinars on this subject. We have Chrissy Civic's book that she's got on, I think, career management and some other things. But again, as I was preparing for today, I went into really deep thought, like, do we truly know what it means to manage our career? If you have ideas, put those in the chat box. One definition for me is to manage your career. It's to be strategic about your career. People will write us about career advancement. How do I move up and such? You have to stop and really think about it. And you have to have a strategy. Well, first you have to know what you want. So for 2017, what's your goal as far as your career? So some options might be, okay, your goal for 2017 is to stay in the job you are in today, stay with the executive in the group that you support. And you want to, though, expand your opportunities within that position. You want to take on more challenging assignments. Maybe you want to be able to use your creativity more than you've used in the past. Maybe you want to be able to help streamline some processes. I mean, what are your goals for 2017? You know, that's about managing your career. You might be thinking for 2017, my career aspiration is to move up in the administrative profession. So how are you going to manage that? What's your strategy? How are you going to get yourself in front of the right people? How are you going to present yourself? Do you have your career portfolio ready? That's what it means to manage your career. It's not sitting and waiting for others to tell you what to do and how to manage it. It's writing your professional development plans. It's discussing that plan with your executive. That's managing your career, and you have to accelerate this process. You can't wait anymore for someone else to do it for you. You can't wait for your boss to do it for you. It's your responsibility. And that is great news because it is your career. It is your life. So you should be managing it, right? The next one, number 5, is to speed up your value to your company. Now, I know every single one of you deliver great value to your organizations. I am in the trenches with assistants every week, you know, whether it's virtually or whether I'm on site at their location. And I know what you folks do. And remember, those of you who don't maybe are new to Office Dynamics, I worked as an administrative professional for 20 years in a lot of different companies. And so I know you bring value every day. Our challenge, though, is you have to speed up your value to your company. So you've got to aspire to greater levels of contribution. Now, I'm not saying more work, because just because you get more work or you do more work or activity, it doesn't mean you're bringing greater value to your organization. So be thinking about, how do I bring that value, and the work I'm doing, the tasks that I'm working on, are these items that truly contribute? A couple other thoughts within this is to be diligent about focusing on the really important things. So as you look at your day, and you go through today and tomorrow, make sure you're really focusing on the things that count. And in other webinars, we've talked about, the A priorities and B priorities. I want to share with you something I found in redoing my research for our conference next year on the Accelerated Assistant. And this was in my Training and Development magazine. It's really short, so I'll read it to you, but I love this. It's Melissa Daimler. She's Senior Vice President, Talent Acquisition and Development for WeWork, so W-E capital W-O-R-K, in New York. And she talks about radical prioritization. Melissa says, we have so much information, meetings, emails, tweets, and projects coming at us. We need to be diligent about focusing on the most important things now more than ever before. I reprioritize as new things come onto my plate throughout the day, trying to focus on the important and impactful things right now. So I love how she talks about radical prioritization. That's taking it up several notches probably. And then again, focusing on what is impactful, which that leads me to our number 6 area for acceleration is focus. You really have to hone your mental agility and deep concentration at the time you are working on something. So again, this is serious stuff, folks. I've talked about it a jillion times in the last few years, and I'm never going to stop talking about focus, because I still see way too many people who don't focus. So I want to challenge you, and the key word is deep concentration. You've got to speed that up. So I actually am going to throw out a challenge to you. Starting today through the rest of this week, I truly want you to notice when you are truly paying attention, when you are focused, and also to notice when you've been distracted. And what would be really kind of fun is to just make some tick marks. Have a sheet of paper, and every time you got distracted, now obviously if people come up to you, you have to stop and pay attention to them. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about more when you're working on emails or making a travel arrangements, and you distracted yourself with another thought or jumping over. And just have a tally. And after 3 or 4 days of watching that, just see for yourself, how you're doing. Within the focus, mindfulness is becoming critically important. So add that to your toolbox, being mindful. And I'm going to talk more about mindfulness and several of things I've shared with you today in January. So mark your calendar, January 10th, and we're going to go deep, and it's going to be really good, I promise you. And then the last one, you have to accelerate innovation. Now, innovation is different than creativity. I'm not going to go into that today, but if you're curious, you can Google it. You have to ceaselessly seek solutions as you're going through your day, always looking for ways to make things more efficient, better, streamlining your processes, to truly be innovative. And so another person who I just love to follow and love his advice. His name is Simon Sinek, Sinek. He is described as a visionary thinker with a rare intellect. He teaches leaders and organizations how to inspire people. He's awesome. Check him out on YouTube. And in one of the YouTube videos that I was watching of his, it was actually a very good video. It was on leadership. It was on the millennials. He talked a lot about us being distracted and being overwhelmed with technology. But he said constant engagement, and he means constant engagement with technology, isn't where innovation happens. And I agree with that 100%. So I know something I do, and that is to think on paper, not on my computer. So while I typed up my notes for today's webinar on paper, what I do on purpose is I print those notes out, I turn around and I work at my desk and I jot my ideas down. That's where my real creativity happens, my innovation. You think differently when you're either working on paper or you're just, even if you're outside taking a walk, maybe, you know, it's a Saturday and you're outside walking without looking on your phone. I have one neighbor who's been a great neighbor, friend of mine for years. He has a golden retriever. I have 2 golden retrievers. He walks his dogs all the time. Well, I noticed the last several years as technology came more into play, as he's walking his golden retriever, he's looking on his phone constantly. And I think how sad he's not noticing the blue sky, the beautiful palm trees, the beautiful flowers. He's not even paying attention to his dog. I notice when I walk my dogs and I get absorbed in the nature around me and I just kind of let my mind be free, that's when I come up with a lot of ideas, either for my personal life or for work. So remember, if you're going to be innovative, which is a requirement now, don't always be tethered to something. Let your creativity and your free thinking just kind of rise up, and you'll be amazed at the ideas that you will think of. So I think that's really it. Before I turn it over to Jasmine, I know in January I have 5 other points I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about controlling the rate of acceleration, that the route you take is your choice. Another one I want to talk about is, you know, when I think of acceleration, I think of a race car driver, and so I did some research on race car drivers. They have to have a lot of control. They are going as fast as 300 miles per hour. So I'm going to really look at that and what does that mean to us, you know, and us, because that's kind of what you are. You've got to be a race car driver. So it's going to be pretty exciting in January. But Jasmine, I guess it's time to turn it over to you because I know we have some exciting deals and a giveaway today.
That is correct, Joan. We do. So today our special offer should be popping up on your sidebar there. It is the Accelerated Assistant 2017 conference, and we know that conference can take a little bit of time to get approval for, so we do have this offer good through the end of the month. The offer will be expiring December 31st, 2016, and that is your conference registration at a VIP early bird price, which is $12.95, along with the 2016 conference on demand, which is the $4.99 value. So all of that together will be a value of over $2,000 for the $12.95, and of course, conference is going to be another phenomenal event. We're really looking forward to the Accelerated Assistant. So our webinar administrator will drop the link in there for you if you need information on where to find the conference and how to register. You don't need to put in the additional products. Those will automatically be sent to you with your registration as long as you register within that time frame. So I wanted to share that with everyone. And we do have a limited number of seats available at the early bird rate. So I believe there are just under 75 seats left. So just want to let you know that that is something that we have limited access to. So depending on the availability, of course, this offer is available at that low rate. So we also want to do our giveaway. So let me just get this ready here. There's our bell. It's giveaway time. Okay, so today we are giving away 4 of the Administrative Excellence webinars. They are $49 value, and we'll be drawing from our live attendees. So let me just bring up the room and see who's in here live. Got quite a few of you. Okay, so our first is going to be Blake Banta. You're our first winner at Sonic Villages. Awesome. Good job, Blake.
Yay.
Our second winner is going to be Brenda Vinson at Mariel. You're our second winner. And let's see here. We also have Rhonda Strong at Eastman. You are another one of our winners. Good job, everyone. And our fourth winner. Let's just see here. We'll just scrolling into the next. Let's see here.
Stay on, everyone. You might win.
Our final winner is Angela Edwards at Cable, or her email address is Cable Comcast. So Angela Edwards, you are our fourth winner for the Administrative Excellence Program. And like our previous webinars, you will receive access to those programs before the end of the day. And of course, please watch for our blog posting with all of our follow-up notes from the webinar. I know Joan shared some resources like Melissa Daimler and Simon Sinek and a few other things with you, the book. So we'll make sure that we have links to those as well in the follow-up blog so that you can check those out later on today. So again, we want to thank all of you and remind you to join us again tomorrow for the day 5 of the 12 Days of Christmas webinar series. We'll be talking about riding the wave of change. Joan has another excellent program planned for you. And again, just thank you for being here with us. We really appreciate it. We're having a lot of fun with this event. And before I close, just want to make sure, Joan, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
Of course, I always have something quickly that I just want to comment about, because someone had asked if we ever announce our Facebook Live events. That we do. So sometimes we do announce them. I mean, if we know we're going to have a scheduled one, and Jasmine will usually post that and let people know about it. Other times they are spontaneous. It's just kind of when the mood strikes me and when I feel like I have something worthy of your time to share with you. So basically, that's how we handle that. And then someone asked, do we have our 2017 webinar schedule up yet? Well, we know we have January 10th. February, we just locked in the date yesterday. Brian or Jasmine, do you remember the date for February? If not, we can let everyone know tomorrow.
I believe it's February 7th, but we'll be sending out the sign-up link soon.
Yes. So, all right. But thank you, everyone. Hope you have a super fantastic day.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.